gets mad when I do this, but Mike's 60, man. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Who gives a shit what I think? It's not my fight.
Mike Tyson just drops a bombshell after Dana White slaps a harsh reality check on him, proving he was right all along. Let me tell you, if Tyson had left boxing at his prime, he would have been remembered as one of the greatest ever, an icon for the ages. He could have made history for being exceptional. But nope, he chose to gamble on his fading career, trying to relive the glory days when he was in his absolute worst condition.
But he basically said, I told him, Mike, you're basically 60 years old. And he's like, you honestly think this fucking kid's going to do anything to me? He's not good. He's not going to fucking knock me out. He's not going to do this. And you saw him. He tripped when he was walking down the thing. He had a hard time walking up the stairs. He had a knee brace on. And Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him.
Dana White warned him to use his brain, but Tyson didn't listen. He honestly thought he could still knock people out in 91 seconds like he used to. Yeah, that was the Mike we all feared. But now he's just ruined his legacy. Tyson made the choice to fight again, and he destroyed his own future with his own hands. All he's left with now is nothing but regret.
When Mike Tyson shows up, everybody makes money, you know? Jake Paul is, you know, I don't have to tell you guys, you guys know, Mike Tyson is the A++++ side of that thing.
Mike Tyson, man, where do I even start? He's living in some delusional bubble where he still thinks he's the baddest man on the planet. Mike, you're 58 years old. The only thing you knocked out now was your own credibility after a scripted fight.
Put together a training camp and come in and, you know, I don't like to see guys fighting it. Yeah, 31-year age difference during that fight. Just, you guys know what I think of that stuff.
I mean, Jake Paul, for crying out loud, is 27. You're literally 31 years older, Mike. It's not a fight, it's an accident waiting to happen. Dana White, who probably hoped Tyson would actually show up with some kind of fight left in him, had to sit back and watch as Tyson reminded everyone why he's not the baddest anymore. Not by a long shot.
I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way the fight, I don't know what people expected. You know, Mike's almost 60 years old. He's Mike Tyson, but he's 60 years old.
Remember that comeback fight with Roy Jones Jr. in 2020? Yeah, the one where Tyson was all like, I'm still a beast. Yeah, no, that was supposed to be an exhibition, but somehow Tyson ended up fighting like an out-of-shape man. And before the fight, Dana White actually had to beg him to reconsider. Like, Mike, please, you're old, chill out.
You know, you guys know the whole story about Shark Week, and, you know, if you don't, I begged him not to do the Roy Jones fight. You're too old, I love you, I don't want to see you take any more punishment, so.
And Tyson? He went full, I can still knock people out mode, but all we saw was him waddling around the ring like he was looking for his dentures. At 240 pounds, Mike was carrying extra weight, not just physically, but mentally. It's sad and embarrassing. But the worst part? Tyson still insists he could have taken Jake Paul down if he wanted to. Really, Mike? Let's not kid ourselves. You couldn't even land a decent punch. You couldn't even get your legs moving. This is the same Mike Tyson who used to be feared by everyone? The same guy who once made opponents crap their pants just by looking at them? Now, he's a shell of that man, and the reality check Dana gave him, he's still refusing to see it.
I was wrong. I told him, Mike, you're basically 60 years old. He's like, you honestly think this fucking kid's gonna do anything to me? He's not good. He's not gonna fucking knock me out. And he was right.
Put this here, and don't get me started on his Twitter rants. He spent the summer of 2023 crying about how his body's falling apart and how he nearly died a few times. He's out here talking about blood transfusions like it's some sort of superhero origin story. Guess what, Mike? You're not Iron Man. You're just a 58-year-old man who's lost touch with reality. Everyone's seen it. You're done. You're just clinging to a past you can't let go of.
What did you expect? Seriously, when you stayed home and you turned on Netflix that night, were you like, holy fuck, I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all time? No, you fucking did not. You got exactly what you thought you were gonna get.
Then there's the Shark Week incident. This is priceless. The man who used to strike fear into the hearts of every boxer on the planet is now threatening to kill people on a boat because they asked him to go shark diving? What happened, Mike? Did all that tough guy energy disappear? What's left is just a bitter old man who can't control his temper.
I set him up on Shark Week. He got paid good money. And he's like, you fucking... So he almost flipped out the last day and was ready to kill everybody on the boat because he had to jump in with all these sharks again in the middle of Florida. And he's like, this fucking asshole says that, he cares about me and everything else. I've been fighting since I was 12. And he throws me in the fucking ocean with a bunch of sharks.
He's the definition of what a fall from grace. Remember when Tyson would walk into a room and everyone would shut up? Now he walks into a room and everyone's wondering how much longer he's going to hang on to this nonsense. And that fight with Jake Paul? Let's not sugarcoat it. It was a joke. A total cash grab. Dana White called it a con job. And guess what? He was right.
There's a lot of... Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time.
The fight grossed $20 million in total revenue, which sounds impressive, right? Wrong. Tyson's last exhibition fight with Roy Jones Jr. earned $80 million. That's right, $80 million. So how do we go from that to a sad little spectacle with Jake Paul, where Tyson didn't even throw a punch? Tyson wasn't fighting for glory. He was fighting for a paycheck. The performance? Sluggish, distracted, embarrassing. Tyson was just there for the money, and it showed. His heart was nowhere near that ring. Now let's talk about Mike Tyson and his recent brilliant decision-making when it comes to the $700 million offer he got from a Saudi billionaire for a rematch against Jake Paul. $700 million.
Now, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, he wants to see the rematch between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, and he's now offering Mike Tyson $700 million.
That's more than double what Canelo Alvarez made with DAZN for his massive contract. But Mike Tyson, the so-called baddest man on the planet, decided to turn it down. Why? Health concerns? Family time? Please, this guy's been milking that family excuse like it's the last golden cow on the planet. The real reason is simple. He knows he would have gotten absolutely demolished in that rematch. He's not about to risk whatever's left of his already shredded dignity.
Such an incredible fight, and bring it to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
It is not something to surprise or not. We have a lot to fight.
Let's break this down, because this decision is just mind-boggling. First off, Tyson is all about the money these days. He can talk all he wants about protecting his legacy or making sure he's in good health, but let's be honest, he knows his time has passed. His first fight with Jake Paul was a joke, and if he thinks that a rematch would go any differently, then he's living in another delusional universe. The guy hasn't been in his prime for decades, and his body is falling apart. So Tyson made the smart choice, not to get embarrassed again. He couldn't risk the world seeing him as a washed-up joke. His career is already on life support, and this would have been the final nail in the coffin.
And for Netflix, this thing was brilliant because you knew it was going to pull a massive number because of Mike Tyson, right? And to be fair to Jake, you're going to tune in to watch him get knocked out, hopefully, right? That's what everybody wants to see.
Now let's talk numbers. Tyson's biggest paycheck ever was $30 million for his fight against Lennox Lewis in 1999. That was Tyson at his peak, when people actually feared him. Fast forward to today, and he's turning down $700 million, which is more than he made in his entire boxing career. Are you kidding me? That's an offer any sane person would crawl over glass for. But no, Tyson didn't want to ruin his legacy. I mean, what legacy? The only thing left of his legacy is a half-decent documentary and a lot of punch-drunk interviews. And here's the kicker. Jake Paul is laughing all the way to the bank. Jake's boxing career is all about viral moments. And in 2023, Jake earned $45 million from social media and these sideshow fights he keeps putting on.
My biggest problem with the Jake Paul thing is, and how this plays out, is when he actually fought somebody who was a boxer, who had the same type of record he has, who is his age,
Tommy,
and who is his size, he lost.
Meanwhile, Tyson, once a legend, is barely scraping by with anything close to that. But the sad truth is, he'd have just been there for the paycheck while Jake Paul milked the drama and hype. It's almost sad how far Tyson's fallen. But you know what? He wasn't fooling Dana White. Dana, as blunt as ever, called Tyson out on his irrelevant brand. Tyson's no longer a threat in the ring. He's a brand, a washed-up legend who shows up for the paycheck, and that's it.
Kid, when he was the champ, it was like people don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champion of the world. He was an executioner.
And let's talk about how Tyson is slowly becoming unhinged. The man who once terrified people is now showing us how fragile his mental state is. Remember that Shark Week incident? Tyson threatened to kill everyone on the boat when they asked him to go shark diving. Really? Is this the same Mike Tyson who used to be a literal nightmare in the ring? Now he's just a shell of that bad boy persona. He's not terrifying, he's just sad. The guy made $20 million from that fight, which sounds like a lot, until you realize that he could have made over 35 times that from the Saudi offer. But he didn't want to risk further humiliation.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40.
Let's be real. Tyson's chasing cash now, and it's beyond embarrassing. He's no longer the guy who knocked out people in 2 seconds. He's the guy who's just out here trying to grab whatever cash is left in his shriveled hands. His brand is shot. His legacy is a joke. And the worst part? Even after Dana White and the fans slapped him with the cold, hard truth, Tyson still doesn't get it. He's out here pretending to be a champion, but every time he steps into the spotlight, all he does is remind us of how far he's fallen. Tyson's no longer a fighter. He's a washed-up sideshow act, and it's time we all admit it.